is that they don't realize that they are trapped. They don't realize that they're trapped. They don't realize that they're trapped because the focus is only on themselves and what was done to them. They can't see anything else. And you start focusing on yourself and become a prisoner in your own writing, in your own world. And you're unable to function. You really become dysfunctional. And it's not an admission, because people won't admit it, because we say, I'm all right. Oh, I'm okay. I'm okay. But you're not. And you cease to function. Because you're ruminating it, and it hurts. The offense hurts. And oftentimes it hurts even more. I guess the degree of the hurt is who is the offender. That's what David said in Psalms 55. He said, it wasn't my enemy that did this to me. I could have handled that because I wouldn't expect any different. But it was my familiar friend. Because the closer the relationship, the more severe the offense. And some of the greatest hatred among people is folks who used to be cool. Who used to be best friends, used to be roommates, used to be co-workers, used to be married. Come on. Some of the worst cases to go to court are divorce cases. And that's some of the greatest hatred. It can be among siblings. But Jesus made it clear that it's impossible to live in this world without being offended. Now, there are two groups of folks who are offended. Those who have been treated unjustly, and then those who believe that they have been treated unjustly. And that group, their conclusions are typically drawn from information that's inaccurate, or it's accurate information that they have distorted. And pride will make you fail to admit your true condition. And it's repression, and so you repress how you really feel. And so you know, the offense happened, and one of your friends, you all right? You gonna be all right? Yeah, I'm fine. Man, I'm good, man. Yeah, girl, I ain't thinking about her. I ain't thinking, you know. That's what we say. Because your pride won't allow you to admit it, but the fact of the matter is that you're not okay. It represses your true feelings. And the consequences that you can't change when you convince yourself that you're okay. And in church you see it, since we in the church, something happened, you get offended by something somebody said or done, and then you get then you look for your supporters, and so they come to you, all right, man, you gonna be good? Yeah, I'm good, I'm okay. And then, girl, you all right? You all right? Yeah, I'm fine. And then the other person, even they done come to you. Maybe they done said, you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. Maybe you took that wrong. I didn't mean it that way. No, it's okay. That's okay. I'm all right. I'm all right. And so then you come to service next time, and you good until you see that person, right? And then when you see them, because they just what? They just into the spirit. They having the Lord is all over them with them, And you were good until you saw them, and now you can't worship, you can't sing, you can't, it's just something, I don't know. It just don't feel the same anymore when I go there. Now, whoa, I thought you were okay. You said you were okay. But every time I see you, that little, that thing in your stomach, because you're still holding on to it. And they're going on because they have come. Let's say they have come, and they've tried to reconcile. And they said, I'm sorry you took it that way. Please forgive me for that. I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it the way you took it, brother. I didn't mean it like that. No, okay, we're good. But you're the one still carrying it around. And who becomes the prisoner? You handcuffed to that. You drag around the ball and chain of that offense, and the other person is going on. It's not just in church. It's on your job. It's everywhere. It's people you work with in your group, your supervisor, your boss, your manager, your president, your principal, whomever. You don't let it go. You say you're okay, but you haven't let it go. You haven't let it go. And that's what this pride does. It holds you. It's the tool of the enemy because you want to cloak. You want to cloak the offense. You just want to hide it. But the truth of the matter is it's still there. And you can't even convince yourself. You can't change again when you can't convince yourself. When you convince yourself that you're fine and you know you're not, you can never change. And pride is the terrible enemy because it's like a spiritual cancer. C.S. Lewis said, pride is spiritual cancer. It eats up the very possibility of love or contentment or even common sense. It'll cause you to see yourself as the victim. And when you think you're the victim, you justify your feelings. We have this victimology. I'm the victim here. So I have a right to be upset. I have a right to feel the way that I'm feeling because I'm the victim here. Pride is concerned with who is right. Humility is concerned with what is right. And offended people see themselves as victims, and they blame those who are the cause of their hurt, and they justify their feelings. So when they're angry, they still harboring anger, they justify it. They're bitter, they're justifying it. Let it go. They can't do like the movie Frozen. Let it go, let it go. They can't do Frozen. And even people who remind you of the person that offended you, you kind of get back from them. You acting just like so-and-so, or you sound like. And then you know what I do, man? I try to find people to co-sign my feeling. And if somebody don't co-sign, I get an attitude with them. Come on, talk to me. Well, you just don't understand. You just don't know. Well, if it was you, you would. You asked me my opinion. I'm just telling you. No, if it was you, you wouldn't be saying that. I remember, and this is what people do when they get offended, when you're trying to, if you're talking to them, you're trying to, straighten something out. So I was trying to straighten something out with this person. So made an appointment to kind of talk to them. And so I knew they had gotten offended because they said, well, well, you said something like that before. And I said, we ain't talking about me, I'm talking about you. You the one got the issue with so-and-so over there, and I'm trying to help you out now. You want to remind me of what I said whenever. That ain't got nothing to do with this conversation. But I knew right there they were offended by the correction that was coming at them. But people will resent those who won't co-sign with it. But what God does sometimes by allowing us to go through those challenges and be offended is that really kind of like a trial, because what it does in those moments, it brings out what's down in there. And you say, well, where's all this coming from? It was there all the time. Just didn't have the occasion to bring it out. You know, someone said Christians are like tea bags. What's in them come out in a little hot water. You know? And so God refines us. And when he's kind of, because we have like we come forth like pure gold. Now, the only way to refine gold is to turn the heat up. And you crank that heat up because, gold cannot be destroyed. You can't destroy gold. You can't burn it up. But all the impurities will come off of the gold and float to the top. And so the refiner, as he cranks the heat up, all of the impurities, and they add flux to the cauldron or whatever they boiling, heating gold in, and all of the other stuff, the impurities in the gold attaches itself to the flux and rises to the top, and they skim it off. And they keep skimming it off and skimming it off until nothing's left but pure gold. And so God refines us with afflictions. He refines us with trials. He refines us with tribulations. And then the impurities of strife and bitterness and anger and envy, they rise up so we can recognize it for the purpose of us skimming it off. Jesus said that we should, in Revelation he said that we should anoint our eyes with salve so we can see. What are we going to see? We're going to see our true selves and our true conditions. Because that's the only way that you can repent for your feelings and stop blaming other people. We're having a great time in this study. And I want to encourage you to either buy the book or come to the day class. We're almost finished with the evening class. But you can buy the book, Beta Satan. I am going to put the slide up so you can get the details of it. And begin to read it. It's a hard read. Because it's a mirror. You know, we like to live in houses with a lot of windows so we can see out and see everyone else. But this book is a house of mirrors. and it ain't a fun house. I have fun teaching our class because it's real quiet in there. And I say, why y'all so quiet? This is hard, Pastor. Yeah, I know. But that's the only way you're going to change. To thy own self be true. No need of deluding yourself thinking, I'm a psychology 101, right? I'm okay, you're not. No, this book helps us to see that we're not okay. But the beauty of it is, if you can be true to yourself, you will be able to look introspectively and realize some stuff you holding on to, stuff that happened to you in your youth, stuff that happened to you, years ago, and you still got this thing with people. Could have some things with parents. Still could be holding on some things with spouses, with neighbors, co-workers, friends that you're saying you okay, but you really aren't. But if you want to be set free, if you want to be released from the shackles, because whoever that individual is, they may even be dead and gone, but you're still holding on to something. So I guess you're going to have a conversation with them, sit a chair across from you and pretend they're sitting in it, and have that conversation and let it go so you can go on with your life and be free from that pain, free from that burden, free from that weight that you're carrying around. Quit lying to yourself, telling yourself that you cool, you okay, when you know that you're not. So that's an introduction, and that's chapter 1. And I'm done with it. I'm done. We're going to see if anybody wants to join church, and probably not today, or maybe today. Or maybe today. Maybe today. Maybe just that little introduction of what this talk is going to be about over the next few Sundays is enough to let you know that you're holding on to something in your heart, that you've been carrying around something from yesterday. You keep reminding yourself of some past offense, and you moved on. You moved physically, but emotionally and mentally, you're still there.